Hey everyone, thanks once again for tuning in to my podcast. I really appreciate you listening to it, and it's an honor to be in your ears. This week I decided to do a solo podcast once again because it's a time that everybody's going through a lot of transition with COVID-19, and there's a lot of things going on, and I know there are a ton of people that are thinking about, should they be waiting to do what they were doing before this all happened? Should they be reinventing themselves? It's just one of those weird times where it really makes you sit and think. And so the subject that came to mind for me was the word regret. I think there's two forms of it that most of us go through, and one of them is regret of something that has happened in the past. And depending on the severity of whatever it was, it could haunt you. It could get in your way of moving forward in other decisions today. It just can play with your mind. But the one thing about it, we all know, is that there's nothing you can do about it, right? It's in the past. Everybody makes mistakes. Maybe it wasn't even something that you had control over. And so I definitely have some things that have been in my past. I'm talking about just some life decisions that I made that I absolutely regret. And every once in a while, they'll surface. And I have to sort of just push them out of the way and say, it's done. It's over with. There's nothing I can do. It's in the past. There's nothing I can change about it. And even giving it just 1 second of thought doesn't help move the needle forward. And so that's one form of it. The severe one is regret of not doing something. So you have regret where it's past regret. Something happened, you did something occurred that hangs around, and you just got to remember that there's nothing that can be done. You push it back down, get it out of your way, get it out of your mind, and move forward. The really severe regret is the one where when you're literally at the end of your life and you are sitting there saying, I regret not doing the following. And that's the one thing that I personally am working on day in and day out to say, I do not want to leave this earth with any regrets of anything that I wanted to do in my life that I never did. So I think it's really important to think about this because I just heard Dean Graziosi talk. There's a course that I am going through. Some of you might know it. It's called the Knowledge Broker Blueprint. They call it the KBB course. And it was put together by Dean Graziosi and Tony Robbins. And Tony and Dean both do segments and different modules of the course. And there was a really good one the other day that Dean did where he used the analogy of you sitting at the end of your life. You've already passed away and you are in whatever heaven you believe with whatever creator that you believe. So if you believe in God, you're sitting next to God, and if you believe in something else, that's all that matters. It's just the concept of what we're talking about here. He's sitting there and he's like, God's like, so how was it? How was your life? And you know, you're sitting there going, oh, it was pretty good. God's like, I don't understand. You know, I literally gave you everything you needed, and just whatever it was you could think of that you wanted to accomplish or do, you were put on the earth at the same level as every other person. And it was just a matter of you taking advantage of all of the possibilities and doing everything that you could to live the most fulfilled life that you could. And Dean did a really good job of saying it. It's like, can you imagine sitting there and saying, oh, I don't understand. You mean I literally could have done anything in the world? I could have pursued anything. I could have been so much more happier, so much more successful. So whatever it was, whatever might be, whatever might not have happened in your life, to think that it could have been so much better, and only you and your own mindset was holding you back. And it was just a really powerful 10-minute segment of this module that he taught, where he was sitting there with our maker, whoever that is, whoever you believe. And they're saying, well, wait a second, is that all it took? It only took me to believe that I could do all of this and that I just was too scared to do this, this, and this. And God's like, yeah, you could have done whatever you wanted to do. And you obviously, based on your answer when I asked you how life was and you said it was okay, you did not go for everything. And so I'm sitting there saying, well, wait, can I have another chance? And he's like, no, that was it. That was your only shot. You had it. And again, Dean's a great storyteller. I'm working on how to tell these stories as good as these guys. But the point of this was the regret of, and I've used this analogy before, of like laying on your deathbed and someone asking you, can you leave this earth totally satisfied and completely fulfilled with the life that you led? And if not, what are the regrets? And so I think it's important to work backwards from that and say to yourself, I can't possibly leave here without the following, and list all of the things that you want to accomplish. And you have to realize that they're all reachable. And that deathbed regret is just going to be the worst if you don't start going after what you want today. And I think past regret is painful enough. Things that you just know, if they had gone differently, your life would be different. You'd be in a different position. Potentially, you'd be better off. If it's a regret, it's something that just obviously turned your world in a different direction and not in a good way up to this point. But these other things that are within your power to reach and complete and get done, those are the ones that really sting, because it's all up to you to make it happen. And so this is really important to me, and I wanted to talk about it on this episode because I just think there's so many people that are held back by fear. It's just the worst thing. They just won't go for all of these things that they want to accomplish. And then the regret is going to be so painful down the road when they realized that there was nothing standing in their way but themselves. There are no, you can't do this, police. There's nobody around. Like, you can't listen to anybody but yourself. And so this is something I think is really powerful. And the way Dean told the story was just, he made it sound like the person sitting next to their maker was completely surprised that they were equipped to accomplish anything they wanted in their life. And all they wanted was a second chance to go back down to earth and do it and try all of these things that they just thought they couldn't do. They weren't allowed to do, or they didn't have the talent to do, or they didn't have the time to do, or whatever the case might be. And just the way Dean talked about it was amazing. It was just sort of soul crushing. It's like, sorry, you had your chance. You're in heaven now, or wherever it is that you believe, and you have to make the most of this. But you don't have a second chance to go back and do any of those things. The real key to this episode is that you have to realize how painful regret will be at the end of your life for all of the things that you wanted to do that you literally never took a chance on because of fear, or because of listening to people around you that said, it's not possible, you can't do that, whatever the case might be. So I hope when you listen to this, if there's something that you've been waiting to do, ripping you up inside because you know it's something you want to do and you just can't seem to get past the fear, I'm telling you that the regret of not doing it is going to be so much more severe than the fear that you're feeling at this moment. So I wish for you to not have any regrets on your deathbed. And I wish that you will go after whatever it is that you are trying to accomplish right now. Don't let anybody or anything get in the way. I want you to punch regret right in the face and say, you are never going to come into my life between now and the time that I leave this earth. I wish you all the best. Once again, thank you so much for listening. I'm very honored that you are listening to my podcast. And if you really like what you are hearing, please rate it. And if you have the time to write a review, I would be very grateful for that. Thank you so much. Join me again for future episodes.